Alexander Whitmore, a wealthy and handsome businessman, lived a life of luxury in his sprawling waterfront mansion with his stunning wife, Isabella. Their home was always immaculate thanks to their diligent staff, maids, butlers, and drivers. But there was one maid in particular who had caught Alexander's eye, Sophia. Sophia was breathtaking. Slim waist, full lips, and a sun-kissed complexion that made it impossible not to stare. Alexander found himself stealing glances at her whenever she passed by, admiring the way her body moved beneath her uniform. He had never acted on his desires until the day Isabella left for a business trip abroad. That evening, Alexander returned home earlier than usual. The mansion was quiet as he made his way to the master bedroom. When he pushed the door open, the sight before him made his pulse race. Sophia stood in front of the floor-length mirror wearing Isabella's black lace lingerie. The silk robe draped over her shoulders did little to hide her curves. She hadn't noticed him yet, too absorbed in her reflection. Alexander stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Sophia gasped when she saw him, her cheeks flushing crimson. I'm sorry, sir. I'll take it off right away." "No," Alexander commanded, his voice low and firm. "Keep it on. In fact, put on more." Sophia's breath hitched. The hunger in his eyes sent a thrill down her spine. Slowly, she slid the robe off her shoulders, letting it pool at her feet. She reached for one of Isabella's nightgowns, a sheer, delicate thing, and slipped it over her body. The fabric clung to her like a second skin. Alexander sat on the edge of the bed, watching her with darkening eyes. "Turn around," he ordered. She obeyed, letting him admire the way the gown hugged her hips, the curve of her backside. His jaw tightened. "Come here." Sophia approached hesitantly. Alexander reached out, his fingers tracing the slit of the nightgown, brushing against her bare thigh. "You're exquisite," he murmured. Then, without warning, he pulled her onto his lap, capturing her lips in a Syrian kiss. Sophia melted against him, her fingers tangling in his hair. Alexander's hands roamed her body, squeezing her waist, sliding up to cup her breasts through the thin fabric. "Alexander," she whimpered as his mouth trailed down her neck. He stood abruptly, lifting her effortlessly and laying her down on the bed. His lips found hers again, more insistent this time. One hand slid between her thighs, teasing her through the lace panties. Sophia arched against his touch, her breath coming in short gasps. "I want to taste every inch of you," Alexander growled, yanking the panties down and spreading her legs. His tongue was relentless, licking and sucking until Sophia was writhing beneath him, her fingers gripping the sheets. "Oh God! Alexander, please!" He didn't let up until she came with a shuddering cry. Only then did he strip off his own clothes, his erection straining against his pants. Sophia's eyes widened at the sight. "On your knees," he ordered. She obeyed, and Alexander groaned as her warm mouth enveloped him. Her tongue swirled around the tip before she took him deeper, her hands gripping his hips. He tangled his fingers in her hair, guiding her pace until he couldn't take it anymore. With a growl, he flipped her onto her back and thrust into her in one smooth motion. Sophia cried out, her nails digging into his shoulders. Alexander set a punishing rhythm, each stroke hitting deeper. "You feel too good," he gritted out, lifting her hips to change the angle. Sophia gasped as pleasure ripped through her. They moved together, skin slick with sweat, the bed creaking beneath them. Alexander's mouth found hers again, swallowing her moans as he drove her toward another climax. When she came this time, her body clenched around him, pulling him over the edge with her. But they weren't done. That night, Alexander took her in every way imaginable. Against the wall, bent over the vanity, even in the shower. By dawn, Sophia was exhausted, her body marked with the evidence of their passion. Days later, Isabella returned home early. She pushed open the bedroom door only to freeze at the sight before her. Alexander buried deep inside Sophia, their bodies glistening under the dim light. "How could you?" Isabella screamed, her voice breaking. Alexander jerked away, shock written across his face. Sophia scrambled to cover herself, her heart pounding. Isabella slapped Alexander hard across the face. "We're getting a divorce!" she sobbed before storming out. But Isabella still loved him. Days later, she confronted Sophia alone. She studied the younger woman, her beauty, her allure. "I'll let you walk away unscathed," Isabella said coldly. "On one condition." Sophia swallowed. "What condition?" Isabella stepped closer, her fingers brushing Sophia's cheek. "You spend one night with me." Sophia's breath caught. The tension between them was electric. That night, the two women explored each other in ways neither had expected. When it was over, Sophia left the mansion. Alexander and Isabella tried to salvage their marriage, but nothing was the same. Passion opens doors we never knew existed, and once we step through, there's no going back.